Hello everyone, I'm Noah. It's great to be here and it's our pleasure to welcome you to this eBay event. With me is Liran Akavia, COO of Sibo. Hi Liran.
Hello Noah.
Today we're going to take a look at how baked goods leaders are reducing quality, waste, and yield losses using artificial intelligence. We'll be hearing from the world's leading manufacturers like Nestle, Mondelez, Pepsico and Aryzta about their strategies and advice for adopting AI and how it has helped them run much more efficiently.
Thank you Noah. Today our session is built of 3 parts. In the first part we are going to speak about the challenges. We are going to understand why it's so complex for baked good manufacturers to control the weight of the product, to reduce the shape and inconsistency of the product, and control the color. Then we are going to deep dive into the Sibo solution. We are going to see a demo how the Sibo solution is helping baked good manufacturers to produce better product in a higher throughput. And eventually, we are going to hear firsthand from the leading manufacturers around the world on how they reduce the losses with artificial intelligence.
So let's start at the beginning, with the challenges. These are things that you deal with every single day. Things like rejects due to weight, quality variables, reduced raw material variance, and color inconsistencies. Each one of these challenges is complex and a constant battle. And this brings up an important question. Artificial intelligence is a really broad field. You have companies selling AI for banking, finance, healthcare, marketing, e-commerce, and so many other industries, including, of course, manufacturing. Even within manufacturing itself, there are so many applications of AI across many different manufacturing industries. But baked goods manufacturing is a whole world of its own, with unique and complex challenges. So can these existing AI tools really be applied to these problems?
So no, unfortunately not. Baking goods is a unique industry with a unique process, from raw material to mixing to baking to packaging. The problems are challenging and unique. The process is challenging and unique. And the only way to provide real value to production teams and production lines in the specific industry is a deep knowledge and understanding of 2 disciplines. One is the baking goods industry, to know actually how the products are being made and a specific familiarity with the production line that need to be embedded into algorithms with a deep knowledge and understanding of artificial intelligence and machine learning. And in order to do that right, you need to embed those 2 disciplines, the manufacturing expertise and the machine learning artificial intelligence expertise, one into the other.
That's very interesting. And Liran, Sibo has a solution that's made specifically for solving this problem, right?
Yeah, so around that, we've built an entire company. Sibo is the #1 predictive quality and yield solution for baking goods manufacturers. We invented new technology. We call it process-based artificial intelligence. This is where we take a specific knowledge from a production line and we embed it into the algorithms. We actually invented algorithms that understand the baking good process. With the Sibo solution, your teams will be able to predict and prevent quality, waste, and yield losses. And there is a big emphasis here on the team. I did not meet your teams in person, but I know who they are. I know how they think. I know what they need. Actually, they don't need more work. They need a bottom line. They need a good insight that they can convert to a meaningful action. They need to better understand their own processes in order to reduce the challenges that you mentioned earlier, the net weight, overweight, the shape inconsistencies, the size variabilities. When we look at the baking good industries, we are looking exactly about that. Reject due to weight, net weight, overweight, size and shape variability, quality variabilities, raw material variance, and color inconsistencies. And what's common about all of those is that those are process inefficiencies. All of those are driven by the process. And when your teams on the ground are looking at process inefficiencies, they generally ask themselves the 3 most important questions. The first question is why the inefficiencies are happening. Then they would ask how to prevent the inefficiencies. And eventually, when is the right time to act? The Sibo solution performs automatically root cause analysis. We highlight the primary suspects of the losses, and we will help your teams better know why the losses are happening. Then, using predictive recommendations, your team will know what are the optimal process settings. And eventually, using proactive alerts, the team will know when is the right time to act. That would lead altogether to the ability of your teams to perform continuous process mastership using artificial intelligence. Sibo was recognized recently by the World Economic Forum as a technology pioneer. We have co-sell strategic partnership with Microsoft, and Gartner is recognizing Sibo as cool vendor in the artificial intelligence space for manufacturing. We already serve the largest and most important baking good manufacturers around the world, from Mondelez to Pepsico to Barilla, Nestle, Hovis, CPW, Lindt, Osem, General Mills, and many, many others. This is, for example, what Nestle are saying about us. I'd like to give you a quick overview on the way the technology is working. And we obviously start by looking at your data, your process data, your raw material data, your quality data, and other data sources. Now, I'm certain that many people around the audience today are saying, this is all really nice, but we do not have yet data available. So you can feel quite right. This is indeed a challenge of many companies in the industry. The thing is that getting the right data, it's not a strategic threat. This is a task that needs to be done, might cost time and money, but if you have a real need in your bakery to reduce the losses that are related to the process, this is something that is doable. And more than that, we did it with many teams around the world many, many times. So once your data is extracted from your PLCs and is available, we can connect to the data and put it in a unified multi-source schema. One of the challenges of data in almost every plant is that it's broken into isolated islands. The quality data is in one place and the raw material data is in the other place, while the process data is in a different server. In order to really analyze the data, you need to put it in one place. We built a lot of intellectual property and automation around this area. But then we do something that no one else does. We build a digital model of your specific process. And then we feed the algorithm with this process knowledge. Right now, the algorithm can do a whole world of calculations that no one else can. And I'll give you a straightforward example. Imagine that I'm holding a piece of bread with the wrong color, or with the wrong size, or with the wrong shape. In order for me to really understand why it happened, I need to trace it back. I need to understand what raw material was involved in that. I need to understand what temperature it was in the oven and what speed and time of mixing this specific bread was. And the only way to do it is by calculating traceability and calculating the traceability dynamically. So now, when the algorithm actually understands the data and the process, the algorithm can do these calculations and many others. Now, since this world is really complex, we wrap it up with a simple, easy-to-use user interface that is designed exactly for your teams, something that they can digest easily and drive the meaningful actions out of that. Let's take a quick look on a leading manufacturer that wanted to reduce waste, reduce underweight, and reduce quality problems. Together with the Sibo solution, they have learned about 140 new things about their own manufacturing process. And that led to savings of almost €1 million in one line in less than a year. Let's start the demonstration from the automated root cause analysis. Let's see how this team is using the Sibo solution to reduce the losses. Now, since this is a public event, I cannot expose the entire solution. I cannot show you all the screens. I cannot dive into the secret sauce of Sibo. But I'll give you a quick overview. And later, if anyone from the audience would like to dive deeper, I'm happy to meet in person. So this is the Sibo solution. We are starting with a straight KPI overview. Here, you can see that we see the overall waste over time, live. At the moment, this bakery has 6.4% waste. And you can see that we break down the waste into the different reasons. And we can see that the most important waste driver is the underweight. From the lean perspective, I would start straightforward with the underweight. I would click here, and here I'm drilling down into what we call the problem card. Each one of our waste reasons, from underweight to flatbread to shortbread, and different colors that are related to the level of toasting, we drill down into a card that specifically represents this problem. Here we see the underweight over time. And as a process expert, I would go straight to the automated root cause analysis. Here the algorithm is taking data coming from the process and from raw material, comparing it against the underweight event where we had rejects, and is automatically coming back to us, explaining why the losses are happening. In this case, we can see that this is the baking temperature. We are looking at zone 2 at the oven. I'm curious about that, so I would click here. And I would see the values that contribute to instability versus the values that contribute to stable production. This is an important insight that will later help me to better shape my process. Now, as a process expert, from one hand, I'm pretty excited about that. From the other hand, I'm concerned, and I'm concerned from two good reasons. The baking temperature is not only affecting the underweight, it affects the color and affects many other parameters. My concern is that I'm going to change one parameter to affect one KPI while damaging other KPIs. My world is actually much more complex than a single parameter against a single KPI. My world has multi-parameters and multi-KPIs that I need to optimize them all. So the second concern that I have is the relationship between the different tags. The baking code is, the baking temperature is related to the baking conveyor speed. And I'm afraid that if I'm going to make one change in one parameter, I'm going to maybe need to change other parameters and maybe open a Pandora box that I'm not sure where is it going to end. Exactly for that, Sibo has the multi-problem analysis. We help you to analyze one data tag against many other KPIs. And we have also the multi-tag analysis, where we find relationships between different tags and data points that are together contribute to inefficiency. Now, this is all really important. Here I'm learning important things about my own process. But in order to convert it into a real meaningful financial savings, I need to convert it to a meaningful action. And with the Sibo solution, you are not only better understanding your production line, you are later converting this knowledge into insights that your manufacturing team can actually act on. Quick summary. Using the Sibo solution, your process experts will know better why inefficiencies are happening and how to prevent them. And the production team will know when is the right time to act. That will lead altogether to the ability of your teams to predict and prevent losses that are related to quality, waste, and yield.
And they're not the only ones doing this, right?
Yes, you are right. So indeed, this bakery had a very successful journey from a very basic place where they had no data available till a moment that they actually saved almost €1 million over a year by optimizing their production line.
Wow.
And very much like them, many other leading baked goods manufacturers are doing that every day.
Now, let's talk about what the manufacturers themselves are saying. Sibo works with many medium-sized and large manufacturers, including the world's leading baked goods manufacturers. So you must have gleaned some insights from your discussions with them. For example, what are some of the concrete, immediate benefits manufacturers have seen after adopting Sibo into their production lines?
So this is kind of straightforward. Manufacturers are saying and seeing results, straightforward, and results that are helping them to reduce important losses. I think that the best would be to hear it from them directly. Let's see what Eugenio, the engineering director of Mondelez, is saying exactly about that.
Without this technology, we were used to do offline analysis, which takes time, a big panel of experts with previous experience. What we have now is online data. We have real-time recommendations with artificial intelligence algorithm telling us new findings every time or new insights. So these new tools for me have been a really good experience to know the technology, know the need, and make a good match. So tackle the right solution for the right problem.
Really interesting. But it's not just about those immediate benefits, right? What are the strategic, long-term goals that baked good manufacturers are looking to achieve?
So no, you are right. The long-term strategic overview is a big part of the picture. And when thinking about your next steps in this field, you need to see the big picture. The best way will be to hear what Felix, the Director of Operational Excellence and Engineering at Aryzta, is saying exactly about that.
Speaking of Aryzta, I think the primary intent, the purpose is to act with the end result in mind in going forward. And what we want to do is, the ultimate goal is to deploy the right approach, those tools and those technologies that help us to maximize the efficiency in production processes across the globe. But at the same time that they go beyond, speaking of AI, of the key subject here, that they go beyond the classical approaches, because that's what we do in basically every day. This is the next S-curve, the next thing we want to find. And yeah, we don't have a kind of lab solution like Pepsico, but we still obviously want to identify the points where we can go the one step further that we didn't believe possible before. And the hope is to find that in these kind of solutions that, for example, Sibo is building.
Noah, it will be also interesting to hear what Nestle Awesome is saying about that.
Our business goal regarding operational mastership is, of course, the general one. And specifically, it's really about the continuous improvement of process capabilities. So we are constantly looking for advanced tools and solutions to drive our lines up. As you mentioned, there is high demand for our products, and this is something that is always in our focus.
This actually brings me back to a point I made before. Can a piece of technology really take on that much of a strategic difference?
So Noah, the answer is yes and no. Technology by itself cannot play the entire role. There is much more than only the technology behind that. And it will be interesting to hear what Felix, the Director of Operational Excellence and Engineering, is saying about this relationship, about what they are looking in a vendor to bring the real meaningful savings that are required.
In any case, we need a solution. It's not about a technology. We look for a partner who basically understands the industry, who knows the sector that we're active in, and who brings specific experience and actually wins over by showing concrete showcases in exactly what we're trying to look for ourselves. Of course, that says we're not trying to invent anything here, but we want to bake bread and not invent the new programming. So we're keen to find out. There's no problem in stealing with pride there. Hence, we need a partner in that setup.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. You need expertise in the industry. That means two things. First, that the technology itself needs to fit the baked goods industry. And second, that the vendor has significant experience and knowledge of the industry. But I think that a lot of you will be asking yourselves what kind of organizational effort or even changes are required to adopt these kinds of technologies.
So no, you're right. We have heard so far different executives recommending to have good focus, to understand what problems are you about to solve and in which production lines are you going to start. It will be very interesting to hear what Anna, the head of Global Venture and Innovation at PepsiCo, is saying about their way of thinking about adopting this kind of technologies.
How to be agile and fast in running those pilots. We all know corporate processes take a long time. Corporate projects can take years, right? Big company implementation is very, very long and expensive, which is the opposite of how you want to work with startups. With startups, you want to try as much as you can. You want to fail quickly and move on quickly. And this is something that you need to build into a process because the inherent corporate processes are not designed for this.
Okay, so assuming that they do all that, what is the best recommendation for a baked goods manufacturer that would like to adopt Sibo to reduce losses?
So this is something that we continuously hear. Focus, focus, and focus. And there is an interesting perspective from Gofna, who is leading the open innovation at Nestle Awesome. She's saying something very interesting about their approach to that.
For us, it was really about focusing. We decided and we understood from the beginning that we had to focus. To do that, we first chose the right project and decided that this is what we have to make work. And this means once we were absolutely convinced that we've selected the right target, this is when we got everyone on board and we addressed the challenges as we got along. So clearly the challenges, they don't all come together one by one, but we understood that with focus, we have to address it. So some of the challenges are really high level, making decisions, making things move on the broader perspective of that. And sometimes it is simply about continuous facilitation, simplification, small steps to make things happen. So it's really, as you say, it's about focus. We focused and we continue to focus, making sure that we can continuously progress on the projects.
So Noah, we've heard the different executives speaking about focus, and we have heard also Eugenia from Mondelez speaking exactly about that. There is another interesting recommendation that came from him that we hear quite often, and we find it very useful to follow. He speaks about the building the goal and having the goal as our northern star, the thing that leads us towards the thing that we are looking to achieve. Let's hear what he's saying about that.
I think many people consider AI and digital solutions is like a journey to get to, and for me, it's a journey to use. It's like a mean and not a goal. So what we have found very practical is doing this proof of concept, using technology, again, where it matters most, solving immediate issues, prove the value, and every time we do a proof of concept, think on a rollout strategy. Don't think of it as a silo.
That's a great piece of advice. AI as a means to a goal. But before we finish up, Sibo is working with leading baked good manufacturers around the world. So can you share just one more example of what customers are saying about Sibo?
Yes, it will be very interesting to see what theory the head of continuous improvement at Nestle CPW is saying about the work that he did with us.
The main success criteria that we have defined implementing the Sibo solution is around losses reduction, which is a cost in terms of ingredients, but also product, but it's also in terms of quality of the product. So if we can deliver a product good first time, with the cheapest cost, this is where we can win. And this is where Sibo can help us to figure out how to even reduce further the losses and to guarantee as well the quality of our products. I believe the agility of Sibo in understanding our needs, the partnering, the feeling that we can work hand in hand to meet a goal. And this is quite unique, and this is probably why startups can really make the difference. And the technology you are bringing is really kind of on the edge and can really help us a lot. So I think this is a collaboration that we need to pursue. We have many projects now in mind to go further with our other factories.
That was very inspiring. So Liran, a few words to conclude?
Thank you, Noah. At Sibo, we have deep understanding and expertise in your industry. It's not only the fact that we understand the baking good industry, we also built algorithms that understand your specific production line. We have reduced losses in quality, waste, and yield for many manufacturers in the industry, and we are happy to help you as well. This is my personal email address. Feel free to contact me. Also, we have a virtual booth and an online chat that you can use in order to contact our representatives. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to helping you and your company reduce losses.